Now being recorded. This meeting is now being recorded.
Okay, Gail.
Thanks, Cindy. And thanks, everybody, for being here today to learn more about the CITO Foundation Sober Skipper Program. I'm Gail Culp, the Executive Director of the CITO Foundation. Michael is working on some plans for the Miami Boat Show today, so it's just me today. But if you have any questions for either of us, you're welcome to reach out to us. I want to start with a grant update. Our 2017-2018 grant was extended, and we finally closed it out in the summer of 2019. The results showed that 51 states and territories were utilizing the Sober Skipper message in some way. This means that a set of Sober Skipper wristbands have been shipped to at least one location in each state or territory for an event, or an article was published showing the use of the Sober Skipper program in that community within a state or territory. So, based on that information, we took a look at the Coast Guard statistics for the last 5 years, and specifically we studied the boating under the influence deaths, accidents, and injuries that have been reported in each of those states and territories. And using the 2018 statistics, we saw that 48 of the 51 states and territories, or 94%, saw a decrease in the number of BUI cases since implementing the Sober Skipper program. We credit the 217 organizations who have partnered with the CITO Foundation to help spread this message, and that includes the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, America's Boating Club, formerly the U.S. Power Squadron, the CITO captains, state and local law enforcement agencies, and the U.S. Power Squadrons, as well as many others. During this grant period, the Sober Skipper program has been seen by 8.4 million people, meaning that less than 1 penny per person was spent from our grant funds to make sure that the Sober Skipper program was getting out there. Another deliverable that we did during this grant is that we held a photo shoot to provide us with some imagery to promote the Sober Skipper campaign. And here's an example of some of the photos that you may have seen. We hired a professional photographer and got some great imagery to help promote Sober Skipper. You've probably seen a lot of these already on social media and the Sober Skipper website, but if you're ever looking for a photo to use in your social media or your community outreach to promote Sober Skipper, let us know. We've got lots of photos that we can share with you, as well as the Sober Skipper logo. So continuing with the grant update, the 2018-19 grant ended on time and on budget in 2019. Just to let you know, our typical grant period is from July 1st of the first year through December 31st of the second year. So that's 15 months, and that's why we usually refer to our grant with a 2-year name, so the 2018-2019 grant. During this grant period, we had our most successful outreach yet, with over 2,700 wristbands being mailed out to over 1,500 cities. And the Sober Skipper message is now in 55 of the 56 states and territories. The only one missing is Northern Mariana Islands, which is out in the Pacific Ocean. So pretty exciting that we're all over the country and territories now. The media generated by the Sober Skipper campaign also went from 8 million in the previous year to 88 million in this year's grant. Huge, big jump. And the value of those media mentions was over $6 million. That's 51 times higher than the grant funding that we actually got from the Coast Guard in our grant. So you can definitely say we're using our grant funds effectively. Also, we had lots of Sober Skipper events that were reported around the country, and we've got a few of them to show you in these next few slides. The CITO captains and staff around the country help promote the Sober Skipper campaign in their local areas. Pictured here are Michelle Kerrigan at CITO Fort Lauderdale, who held a Take the Pledge event. CITO Smith Mountain Lake took the Sober Skipper selfie sticks to their town hall meeting and promoted it there along with life jacket wear. And CITO Key Largo's Steve and Cheryl Powers participated in a national night out and promoted the Sober Skipper program by asking people to take the pledge at their booth. We also were able to debut the Sober Skipper selfie sticks at the Miami Boat Show in 2019, and as you can see, they were very successful at getting the message across with the Kiss Me, I'm a Sober Skipper. Also, the St. Lucie River Power Squadron officers and members took the pledge at one of their meetings, and everyone got wristbands when they took the pledge, which they're showing off in the picture. If you've held a Sober Skipper event, please share the photos with us. We'd love to be able to promote it, and we also need those photos for our grant reports because a picture is worth 1,000 words and thousands in grant funds. We even have more materials than ever to help you promote the Sober Skipper program. We have wristband display boxes, and we also have packs of 100 wristbands that you can order to restock those display boxes. We have the Sober Skipper banner that helps promote the message in a waterproof sign that can be hung from a fence, wall, display tent, or anywhere. We also have a Sober Skipper stencil that can be used with paint or a pressure washer for clean graffiti. In St. Augustine, the St. John County Sheriff's Office worked with Captain Chris Hampton at CETO St. Augustine to have the Sober Skipper logo pressure washed at 8 different boat ramps in their area before National Safe Boating Week last year. A local pressure washer company donated their time and the equipment to do it, and the Sheriff's Office posted these photos and captions to Facebook, and the stencil logo remained at the boat ramps all summer long. So really exciting, and we're hoping to get some details on how effective it was for their area soon. We also have Sober Skipper on social media, and you can promote it by following us on Facebook at facebook.com/SoberSkipper or on Instagram at CETO Foundation, all one word. We share lots of imagery on the Sober Skipper topic, and we'd like you to like and reshare these posts when you see them so you can help spread the word. And if you think of a neat idea, something else that we could put on social media, let us know, and we can work on setting it up and sending it out. Plus, we can send out the photos of your Sober Skipper events as well when you share them with us. Another new addition to the Sober Skipper program is that the CETO Foundation founded the North American Sober Skipper Advisory Council in 2019 as part of our U.S. Coast Guard grant. The council is made up of for-profit boating industry representatives and members, including the NMMA, Water Sports Industry, Boating Magazine, Creval Boats, Marine Max, Brunswick, Regal Boats, Freedom Boat Club, RBFF, which is the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation, Emerald Coast Marine, and others. The council meets quarterly via teleconference, and the main goal is to get the for-profit boating industry to accept and promote the boating safety messages. In a way, the council is attempting to bridge the gap between the nonprofit side and the for-profit side of the boating industry. And while the Sober Skipper name is part of the council itself is working to spread all types of boating safety messages, including wearing life jackets while boating, using an engine cutoff switch or a lanyard, bringing along required equipment, taking a boating safety class, and we also promote the Sober Skipper concept. As you can see in the next slides, there's even more support for Sober Skipper than ever before. So some of this support came from the Florida Fish and Wildlife, which is the Marine Patrol Office for Florida. They posted tips and told people to designate a sober operator on their Facebook page. Freedom Boat Club also promotes the Sober Skipper program to every single member on every single trip, and they even have a YouTube video about Sober Skipper. Another big win for Sober Skipper this year was that an article appeared on CNN.com right before Labor Day weekend in 2019 talking about how to be safe at Labor Day weekend. They specifically mentioned the CETO Foundation for Boating Safety and Education recommends designating a Sober Skipper. And this resulted in millions of people hearing about that campaign for the first time. And another example on the right here is the boating safety tip from the NMMA. They shared this photo as one of their tips during National Safe Boating Week in 2019. The National Boating Safety Industry Awards is one of the new creations as well this year. The Sober Skipper Advisory Council was tasked with seeing how they could better encourage boating industry businesses to promote boating safety, and then how to recognize them for doing so. So we developed this National Boating Industry Safety Awards program in 2019. There were 4 categories, including top retailer, manufacturer, media company, and marketing and outreach efforts. The first awards were presented at the Boating Industries Elevate Summit in Orlando on November 22nd, just a few days after the CETO annual meeting. And shown here are the winners of the first National Boating Industry Safety Awards. The top media went to Bonnier Corporation, top retailer to MarineMax, top marketing and outreach to Yamaha Outboards, and the top manufacturer to Sea Ray Boats. Again, these were all awarded based on their applications that were submitted, which illustrated how they promoted boating safety to the general boating public. As an example, MarineMax promoted boating safety in classes that they hold in stores, as well as they have a series of safety videos on their website, which talk about lots of different boating safety concepts. In addition to these 4 awards and the winners, the Cito Foundation also presented a Sober Skipper Award to Freedom Boat Club to recognize and thank them for their support and promotion of the Sober Skipper concept to all of their members each time they take a boat out. All of the winners were able to be at the Elevate Summit, and this photo shows all of them. So, what does the future hold for Sober Skipper? The latest grant, the 2019-2020 grant, has just started, and with that funding, more wristbands and floating keychains have been ordered and are almost ready to go out. We're going to be utilizing and continuing to utilize social media and other grassroots efforts to promote the message this year, and we encourage you to host a local event this year, order a stencil and use it at a boat ramp in your area, display the Sober Skipper banner at a popular spot, and help us spread the message. In addition, this year, we conducted a small survey of boaters to learn more about their boating and alcohol use. The survey was sent to 80,000 boaters, and we received about 3,600 responses, which is about a 5% response rate and is considered really good in the scientific world. In this survey, we learned that 83% of the respondents generally support the concept of using a sober skipper, and that the same number of people are likely to use it themselves. We also asked that they be likely to share the Sober Skipper concept with their friends and family, and 70% said they would do that. And we also found that people who self-reported drinking 10 or more days a month were less likely to use a Sober Skipper than the less frequent drinkers. What this all means is that we were able to get some information that we did not have before. And the main purpose of this study was to learn whether the Sober Skipper message is understood and whether people report that it's being used. The survey is actually a beta test so that we can propose a larger in-person study of boaters in which they can be put into experimental groups. And in this in-person study, we can determine if the Sober Skipper message is increasing the use of boaters designating sober skippers beyond their natural inclination of the lighter or non-drinkers that do so. So more results will be coming out in the next few months. And I also have an additional analysis of data that's being completed right now. Plus, the Cito Foundation will be making a presentation on the Sober Skipper program at the International Boating and Water Safety Summit in April in Arizona. So that's pretty exciting as well. Also coming up in 2020, the Sober Skipper Advisory Council will be accepting new members for their second class. The first 12 members in the first class will remain on the council for an additional year, as terms are 2 years long. But the goal is to add an additional 8 to 10 people from the boating industry this year. Also, the National Boating Industry Safety Awards will be available for application in the summer, and we'll award those for the second year this fall. And we're also looking for more ways to promote and encourage adoption of boating safety messages within the boating industry. A social media campaign will be launched this year, targeted specifically on the boating industry. So, I know we've covered a lot of information in a short amount of time, but this webinar has been recorded and will be available for you to watch anytime. In the meantime, if you've got any questions or you have an idea to discuss, don't hesitate to reach out to me or Michael. We're both here to help you promote the Sober Skipper message in your local area, and our contact information is on the screen. Thank you very much.
All right, Gail, I'm going to unmute everybody. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Guests have been muted. You can unmute your line by pressing *6. Guests have been muted. You can unmute your line by pressing *6. All guests have been unmuted.
All right, everybody is unmuted, so I have you guys all have open lines, and the floor is open if you have any questions for Gail.
Any questions?
All right. Well, we thank you guys for being here, and we really do hope that the information that Gail has shared today will really inspire you to get involved locally and really explore how you can use this great program. As you can see, so many national efforts have really taken off in 2019, and we know 2020 is going to be even better. Any closing remarks, Gail?
Just reach out to us if you have any ideas, questions, or concerns. We're here for you.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. And once again, we look forward to having you on future educational webinars. Have a great day.
Thank you.